The bell rang, and all the students hurried to their classrooms, including Zawa. It was Zawa's first day of school, and he had never attended school before in his life. Zawa, a 15-year-old boy, was born to a woodcutter named Caillou, and they lived on a hill. In his early years, Zawa assisted his father in cutting wood from the hilltops, which they sold in the city to support their family and keep warm in their hut. Due to their extreme poverty, Caillou couldn't afford to send Zawa to school, although he had always dreamed of it. Zawa had spent his entire life helping his father and learning the woodcutter's trade. He excelled at sharpening the axe and accurately hitting the tree in the right spots. He never had friends and had never been to the city. His life revolved around cutting trees and carrying wood. One day, Caillou shared his plans to send Zawa to school. Curious, Zawa asked his father what a school was. Caillou pointed to a red building down the hill and explained that it was a school where Zawa would receive an education. He told Zawa that education would make him intelligent and help him find better work than cutting wood. Zawa didn't fully grasp the concept of education and ambition. He nodded without understanding what his father meant. To him, cutting and carrying wood was all he knew. And he had never seen any other kind of work during his life on the hill. On Zawa's first day of school, he found himself in a classroom with other new students. The teacher entered, and everyone greeted respectfully. Zawa followed suit, trying to blend in. The teacher announced that each student had to share their ambition in life with the class. As each student stood up and expressed their ambitions of becoming a pilot, doctor, engineer, or soldier, Zawa remained clueless. When it was his turn, he stood there blankly. The teacher asked Zawa about his ambition, but he didn't understand the meaning of the word. Zawa innocently asked the teacher what ambition meant. The class burst into laughter. But the teacher silenced them and patiently explained that ambition meant something one wants to achieve or become in life. Still standing blankly, Zawa had spent his entire life cutting wood and carrying branches. He couldn't comprehend the idea of having something beyond that. Zawa replied slowly, stating that he didn't have an ambition. He saw his life as cutting wood, eating in the evening, and sleeping at night. That was all he and his father planned and accomplished each day. The class erupted in laughter once again, but the teacher quieted them down. The teacher insisted that Zawa must have an ambition, as without it, he would be a goalless and directionless person. Confused, Zawa pondered over the idea. He couldn't understand why the teacher was asking him to imagine a goal or destination that seemed distant and unknown. He questioned the necessity of walking a path he didn't want to go on and whether it was compulsory for everyone to have a goal. Zawa questioned the purpose of striving for a destination that may not be more beautiful or fulfilling than his life on the hilltop. He wondered if reaching a goal required him to wait there indefinitely or if he would eventually grow bored and move beyond it. He also questioned the judgment of labeling people who didn't have goals as directionless. The teacher grew impatient, urging Zawa to work hard on the path toward his ultimate goal and destination. Zawa was still confused, asking the teacher about the road and destination he was expected to reach. The teacher responded with a hint of frustration, mentioning that it was the road to his true home and ultimate goal. Zawa continued contemplating the teacher's words, questioning why he was being asked to work hard towards a destination he didn't desire. He pondered whether the concept of goals and destinations was necessary or if he could find happiness and satisfaction in his current life. He couldn't understand why he had to embark on a journey of difficulty and pain to attain these feelings when he could experience them from any point or even without a journey. The class giggled at Zawa's deep thoughts, but the teacher finally interrupted and asked him again about his ambition. Zawa, looking outside the window as if lost in his imagination, responded that his ambition was to cut wood in the morning, drink tea in the evening, and sleep at night. The teacher, disappointed, told Zawa that his current life already encompassed his supposed ambition. But Zawa was content with that. He saw no need to aspire for something beyond what he already had. The teacher grew angry and dismissed the class. Confused and unanswered, Zawa shared his school experience with his father that night. He expressed his thoughts about the expectations of walking a path and reaching a destination. Zawa couldn't understand why the school was asking him to cut wood from trees that didn't exist when he was already doing it with his father. Caillou laughed, appreciating his son's intelligent feedback. He advised Zawa to tell them what they wanted to hear, mentioning that the teachers also had ambitions to be successful. He left Zawa alone on the hilltop to ponder his thoughts at night. The next day at school, Zawa was the first student to speak after the teacher resumed from where they had left off the previous day. Zawa shared that he had thought about it and decided he wanted to be a doctor. The teacher applauded and smiled, satisfied that Zawa had conformed to the expected response. The class continued, and Zawa looked out the window, observing the rain and contemplating the nature of life. Zawa noticed that the clouds moved in no specific direction, the rain fell without following a particular path, and the grass grew without conforming to any pattern. Humans, including himself, were part of nature but couldn't live with it without altering it. He realized that life was continuously evolving, and new discoveries and ways of life emerged constantly. Reflecting on his experiences, Zawa contemplated whether life truly had a predetermined path or a defined destination. He questioned if people were just cutting the grass in different designs or simply allowing life to grow and unfold naturally. He recognized that it was acceptable to have ambitions, but also to find happiness in the present moment. Life, like nature, didn't always follow a linear path. It was okay to appreciate where one was and to embrace the ever-changing journey. Zawa understood that the fulfillment and satisfaction he sought could be found at any point in his life's journey, even without conforming to societal expectations. And so, Zawa continued his schooling, finding his own perspective on ambition and life, while cherishing the simplicity and contentment he had known on the hilltop.